The prolonged conflict that would become known as World War II erupted in 1939 when the Allies confronted the formidable power of Adolf Hitler as he swept across Europe with remarkable speed and precision, toppling nation after nation. The desperate evacuation of thousands of British and French troops from the beaches of Dunkirk underscored the crushing defeats of 1940 and demonstrated that Hitler's forces were a formidable threat. Yet, as more nations became entangled in the global struggle, momentum began to slowly shift. Allied successes in North Africa in 1942, followed by the invasion of Sicily in 1943, combined with the unwavering resistance of the Soviet forces on the Eastern Front, signaled to both the Allies and Hitler that an assault on Northwest Europe was inevitable. 4 years after Dunkirk, Allied ships would once again cross the English Channel, but this time to liberate France and reclaim Europe from Nazi occupation. The Normandy landings of 1944, the largest seaborne invasion in history, marked a pivotal moment. By 1943, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill and US President Franklin D. Roosevelt were deeply involved in planning a joint offensive against Germany. Initial preparations for a large-scale landing on France's northwest coast began in July, and these plans were later discussed with Soviet leader Joseph Stalin at the Tehran Conference. Many critical decisions had to be made for the operation, codenamed Overlord, starting with the question of where the invasion should occur. Although the most direct route to France was across the Pas de Calais, this was precisely what the Germans anticipated. To maintain the element of surprise, the Allies selected a more complex approach, targeting 3 beaches in the Cambrai region of Normandy. Careful preparation was essential, and the Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, SAEFF, was established to coordinate the extensive planning required. While many expected US Chief of Staff George C. Marshall to lead the operation, command was instead given to General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who had already achieved success in Africa and Italy. Eisenhower worked closely with British General Bernard Montgomery, a seasoned commander with experience from the First World War, Dunkirk, and victories in North Africa. Together, they determined that landing on 3 beaches would be insufficient. They ultimately selected 5 beaches, stretching from Cherbourg to Le Havre. Churchill described this expanse as a 50-mile half-moon of sandy beaches, and success in this sector would allow the Allies to establish a secure beachhead with access to necessary ports. American forces were assigned to land on the beaches codenamed Utah and Omaha, while British and Canadian troops would come ashore on Gold, Juno, and Sword. The objective upon landing was clear: to reinforce the troops rapidly and deploy as many soldiers as possible to establish a strong foothold. Yet the mission was far from simple. The Allies were acutely aware of the risks, having suffered a devastating defeat 2 years earlier during the Dieppe raid. In 1942, thousands of British and Canadian soldiers were killed in a failed assault on the northern French coast. Lord Mountbatten, who had overseen the operation, later reflected that for every soldier lost at Dieppe, at least 10 more might have been saved at Normandy. Lessons from that failure informed every aspect of planning for D-Day. One major challenge was the lack of natural harbours along the chosen beaches, meaning the Allies would need to create their own landing and unloading facilities. In a famous directive to Mountbatten, Churchill had insisted on piers that would float up and down with the tide. Today, remnants of the solution can still be seen along the northern French coast, the remarkable Mulberry harbours. The concept began to take shape under John Hughes Hallett, who had become Naval Chief of Staff for Operation Overlord. Having witnessed the Dieppe disaster firsthand, he proposed that if a port could not be captured, it should simply be brought across the channel.